Hello and welcome back to another Mosaic Minute. I have such a treat for you guys today. I am excited to actually introduce Vicki Hill to you. I feel like a good portion of this audience may even know who this is. And so, just to get started, again, thank you for joining us today. We have a founders edition that we'll have some opportunities to follow up with some additional founders after we, of course, introduce our Mosaic founder, being Vicki Hill, who is also our chairwoman of the board. So hello, Vicki, and welcome to a Mosaic Minute.
Hello. Hi, Kristen. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here.
Love it. All right. Well, I am excited to talk about this topic, the topic of just overall Mosaic Consulting Group, the journey that Mosaic has had, the founder's story, and being able to hear it from our founder's voice. This is a story I have heard several times. It's incorporated into our orientation even to this day. So team members really understand at the foundation the why behind Mosaic and the who behind Mosaic and where we're going. And so wanted to share this out into the ecosystem, out into the market so that you guys have a chance to hear it as well. So let's get kicked off. Let's hear the story of how Mosaic was founded and started. So Vicki, what inspired you to start this journey?
Well, I had spent some time as a Ultimate Software customer, and then with Ultimate Software doing implementation work, and really found my calling, something that I love to do. But when I started my family, when I got married and started my family, I knew I couldn't travel 80% of the time. So I started kind of independently consulting and left Ultimate and started that independent consulting. But what was really fun about it is that I could kind of do it my way. So it wasn't just the implementation, it's what else can I do for the customer, right? How far outside of that implementation box can I go? And that's kind of how it really started. And then as more clients found me and I started getting more and more work, I started bringing on some team members who felt the same way. And we worked very closely together in the early days. And at some point, I kind of looked around and I thought, wow, we have a team. We have, 25, 50 people. And I really knew that culture was going to be important. Of course, I was very influenced by Ultimate Software at the time. And so really started honing in on the two passions that I have, which is the client experience and then the team experience. And that kind of started the journey of how do we grow and how do we keep the client in the forefront, but how do we allow our team members to be a part of the culture that we wanted to build.
I love that. There's so many messages that run through my brain over the years. And I know you started the organization 13 years ago. I've been here for almost half of that, of 7. And so some of the messages I always remember hearing is, it's not about being the biggest, it's about being the best and delivering quality to our clients. That was always in the forefront of your messages when you delivered. And you always stress the importance of the team experience and sharing and showing the impact our team is making, both with clients and on each other. I also hear that reference of, if a client's asking you to put up a Christmas tree, you're like, okay, where's the box, right? That we're here to help and service in a different way. And it doesn't always just have to be, I'm going to say within a box, but maybe the tree's in the box, but you get what I'm saying. Love it. So I know you've had a major influence. I would love for you to be able to share this, especially as a founder and a CEO of an organization. How have you influenced the culture and the values of Mosaic?
Well, I have always said you either have a culture by default or a culture by design, right? And so it's all about being very intentional about the culture. And so very early on, we went through a few exercises to create not only our core values, but also our purpose. Like, why do we do what we do? And when asked that question to me multiple times, trying to get to the very core of why I did what I did, love implementing the product, love, working with the people. And then as I continued to dig into it, it really came down to making a difference and inspiring confidence, right? Giving users the confidence that they know how to operate and run a payroll or operate benefits, whatever the case may be. and then extend that out to employees all over, all over the world, really, that they have confidence that their paychecks are on time and correct and all of those things. So it's really about making a difference, and inspiring confidence. And then kind of this process, coming up with our core values. And that's been something that we started probably 12 years ago. And we've done some, pressure tests on those over the years to see if they were still valid, if they were still relevant. And I love that they still are, right? Our core values are teamwork, wow, through great customer service, own it, and do the right thing. And we still talk about all of those values today in our everyday language. And so making sure that we've got people that are tied into that culture has been really, really important. And I'll tell you, kind of a point in time where I realized just how important it was to make sure those people were aligned is when we started building in management and leaders, bringing new leaders into the organization. And if they weren't really tied to our culture and to our core values and to our purpose, we started to see that throughout the team. And so that was really key for me, is our leaders who are out there leading our people have to be so aligned so that that culture is protected. So it's not been easy. We've not always gotten it right. But you have to make sure that everybody is on board with that same purpose.
I love that. And one of the messages I would love for our audience to hear is that the culture, the importance of culture, having it with intention, and the actual core of the organization, those core values, it started with our CEO. And you can hear how much she cares about this, how much she wants to protect it. I know I've shared in past Mosaic Minutes when I interviewed with Vicki again 7 years ago. First question she asked was around, how do you protect the culture as it grows? How do you stay connected with the team? And as you can imagine, that's not typically the first question that you hear, even when you're interviewing from an HR seat. And so it's a challenge back out there. I know many people always want to work with a leader that has that at their core. And I was so fortunate when I found it here at Mosaic. And that's a torch I get to carry. And I'm very honored to carry that. But this too could be yours, right? So find that ultimate leader that keeps it at their center. It is a world of difference when it comes to how you actually protect that culture. Love that. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to add?
I'll also add that it's, you're right. It's not something that we just have posted on the wall or on our website. Culture happens in every single conversation throughout the team. It's every email, every text or Teams message, every conversation is where the culture really lives. And so I've had people challenge me about, well, hey, our culture seems a little off. And it's like, you are part of the culture. How are you contributing positively or negatively to our culture? It's in your power to impact and influence our culture here, right? It's not, it can't just be one person's job. It's
That's
everywhere.
exactly right.
So yeah,
Which
we're all
again,
part of it.
part of our onboarding as well, right? How you are now a part of that. And you get to be a part of that in a positive or a not so positive way at times. But again, that's a part of looking in the mirror, and every one of us has to do that. I literally keep a mirror up on my wall, not to see myself, but truly to represent, look in the mirror, especially when things aren't going quite right. There's a role that you play as a leader in that. So love that. I'm going to switch gears ever so slightly here. I know as a female leader, as a woman entrepreneur, you may have faced some challenges over the years. And I know we take a lot of pride in being a woman-owned business, not only in certification status, whoop whoop, but also in physically the ownership and the way that we lead. And so what are some of those challenges that you face as a woman entrepreneur, whether it's in this industry or just in general in leading? And how did you overcome those?
Oh gosh, probably my biggest challenge is that I'm a very empathetic person and I lead with empathy. And, one of our core values is to do the right thing. And I have always said it's the most challenging one because you have to do the right thing for the customer, for the team member, for the UKG partnership that we have, for the business. right? And those aren't always congruent. So it's very hard for me sometimes to make a decision knowing that I'm going to impact, one of those areas. But leading with empathy has allowed me to make sure I'm getting all the perspectives that I need so that I can make a decision. But I will tell you, there have been times where that has caused me to not make a decision, right? And that's been a challenge for me that I've worked on over the years. How do I keep things moving forward? How do I not stall when a very big decision needs to be made? And I know I'm doing it with empathy, which is good, but it can also make me stuck. So that's something that I continue to work on today. And I would guess that that's probably a little more common with female leaders than maybe our male counterparts. So yeah, that's a challenge that I've had.
I love how leading with empathy has actually become more in the conversations around leadership development. And that is an area, you're right. It definitely requires a balance, especially when you're balancing, KPIs versus, what might be right for the partnership or what might be right for the client. There's always the team factor that's in there, and it is a complete balance. So I understand that and can empathize even with that in itself. So talking about balance, how have you balanced the demands of being a CEO, being a woman entrepreneur, actually with your personal life and your own well-being? The amount of times that I've been asked this question is like, how do you do it? And first of all, it's like, don't try to do it all because it literally doesn't exist, right? But at the same time, there's always this balance. And we've heard a lot of the conversations over, how do you balance your work and home life? And then I think at one point that was debunked and now it's back. Wherever we're at in that journey, just how have you physically been able to balance your own personal well-being to the demands of work all the way into like how you parent? What does that balance look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. So I am a mother of two teenage daughters. And so that's been great because they've seen me be in the role that I am. And, they call me girl boss, which I love because I'm like, well, you too can be a girl boss. But, it's all about intention. You have to be so intentional with your time. You have to be so intentional with your focus and where you are. When I was younger and traveling a lot, I spent a lot of time working. And then as I started to have a family, knowing that at some point I have to clock out, right? And working virtually and remotely, it's even harder to do that. And so even today, I know that, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whenever it is that I virtually clock out, I'm done for the day and I'm focused on my family. And I've had to do that. And then there are times, everybody has seasons. I've had seasons in my family where I've needed to spend more time there. Seasons at work where you need to focus a little bit more. So it is a balance, but you can't do it if you're not intentional about it. The mom guilt will be too much. It'll be crushing. And also, you never feel like you quite did enough at work. And so you kind of have to push that into the back of your head and say, what is it that needs my attention today, and where do I focus my efforts? So it's definitely a balance, and it's a learned effort. At least for me, it was.
It is. I know you've supported me in my own challenges with making sure, not that there's a balance, but that the mom guilt is real. And I even wrote a LinkedIn post about that
Right.
recently because it is real when you're traveling and you're missing out on some of those important items in your kiddos' lives or in your family's lives, whether you have kids, cats, dogs, aunts, uncles, doesn't matter, right? You still have a life outside of work. And so that is something that I know you've passed on to me. What I love is that even though it sounds like a very specific question for Vicki Hill, that actually has transferred into our culture. And so the way that we, watch to make sure team members are actually taking time off. And in the way that, a flexible schedule is a part of working at Mosaic, as long as you're getting your job done, that's okay. Take the time that you need to take. If that means catching a 4 o'clock soccer game, awesome. If it means a dentist appointment at noon, great. You don't have to ask for permission. There's trust that's built into this culture around maintaining that balance. And so that is a part of Mosaic. That is a part of who we are. And again, it starts with being able to see that it's okay and giving yourself permission and grace. So I love that. All right, I know we're getting to the end of time here, so I have one more final question for you. Oh, this is a fun one. I know when you started this journey 13 years ago, you had a vision for Mosaic. And here we are. We have continued to see that vision evolve over time. I can only imagine your vision 13 years ago, it's starting with, what, three people is a little bit different than what it looks like, today, and the vision that you have vision casted to the organization of this is the direction of Mosaic. And here we sit in an incredible point in time where we will have accomplished, 4 total acquisitions, 3 of them very specifically this year. That's an opportunity to continue to grow our team and our impact into this market, which is exciting. So, did you ever think Mosaic would be here today when you started this 13 years ago?
I get that question a lot, and my answer is always no. I did not anticipate this. I don't know if I had underestimated the potential of Mosaic or not, but the vision has changed and grown and evolved over the years because the organization has grown and evolved. So no, I don't know that I ever would have anticipated this, but it has been so fun and so rewarding. And I'm so proud of the organizations, in particular, the leaders that we've brought in to lead our team, who is amazing. It's always great to see people succeed. It's like, this has been my third child, and I'm proud of the success that it has had. And, hindsight, like just even the name itself, Mosaic, and putting all the pieces together was kind of the thought behind it. And now looking at the organizations that we've brought together, and that's just a whole different meaning of a mosaic. It's so important that we all bring our unique self, and each organization that we've brought in has been unique, but very culturally aligned, which has been very important, but unique in their own way. And so it's created this new, bigger and better mosaic, which has been so fun. And, just being women owned, women led, having someone like you ride shotgun for so many years, Kristen, and so aligned with the vision, with the culture, with the purpose, which is why, you are at the helm of the organization right now. I mean, nobody else cares about it like I do, like you. So I appreciate you.
Well, as much as that, and my next statement's going to be, thank goodness for the team that we have. Could not be here without them. I know that's exactly the message you're sending today too. Incredible leaders. Oh my goodness, the leaders here. I just got done with the QBR, actually. So proud of the accomplishments of the last quarter and of this year, in the way that our leaders lead and the way that our team members are creating the success of Mosaic. And I know that's a shared, something very much shared between the two of us. So exciting times at Mosaic, exciting to watch us evolve and grow, make a bigger impact to our clients. Our talent has grown. Our ability to serve differently has grown. And that has been just so worth it. So worth the time and the busyness to make those happen. It has been so worth it. So thank you for sharing your story today. I love getting to hear this, especially, from orientations of all the years, or getting to hear you speak. I've heard the full journey and heard you continue to add to that journey over the years. I really just wanted to spend a few minutes being able to share that with our listeners as well. So more to come for Founders Edition. I want to actually bring in different founders that have continued to grow into our organization, and to be able to share their story as well. So more to come. Thank you, Vicki. Any final words for the audience before we log off?
No, the word that keeps sticking out in my head is just be intentional. Be intentional with your life, with your work, with your family. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you. And thank you, audience. And we will see you again in another 2 weeks. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Bye.